Aaron Hale stood in the great hall of the Concordant Embassy, feeling the weight of 1,000 eyes on him. The selection ceremony was always a spectacle, but today it felt even heavier, as if the shining pillars and floating banners leaned closer to witness what he might do. Rows of alien royals stood across from the human soldiers, each candidate chosen from different starfaring civilizations. Some were tall and regal, others armored and intimidating, and every one of them carried an air of importance. Yet none of them distracted Aaron. He was focused, steady, and strangely calm. He had been through battles. He had fought pirates on the Outer Belt, survived siege missions, and even walked away from a collapse on Titan Station. This choosing an alien partner for a joint species defense program should have been simple, but the ceremony had layers of politics and pride that made it far more intense than any firefight he had ever been in. Tradition said every human soldier needed to pick one alien royal. Together they would form a strategic pair, trained to fight side by side, share knowledge, and represent unity between species. Most soldiers already knew who they wanted. Some chose the most powerful houses, others the most influential heirs. It was all about advantage or opportunity. Aaron, however, had no interest in power games. He cared about the mission, defending the galaxy from growing threats. And he wanted a partner who could actually help him do that. That was why his eyes kept drifting toward the far end of the line, toward the figure standing alone. Princess Riella of the Virel Dominion was almost lost in the shadow of the hall. Her translucent crystalline skin shimmered weakly, like light behind frosted glass. Her robes were simple compared to the gleaming, intricate outfits worn by her siblings. She kept her hands clasped tightly in front of her, her posture composed yet full of quiet tension. Most soldiers ignored her. Many diplomats whispered about her. Some called her fragile. Others called her irrelevant. She was the youngest princess of the Dominion, lacking the commanding presence of her elder siblings. The Dominion valued brilliance, strength, and military promise. Riella was known for academic achievements, but little else. She rarely spoke at public events, and her voice was soft even when she did. Yet Aaron noticed something different about her. Throughout the ceremony, she didn't seem afraid, only alert. She watched the room, noting every movement, every sound. She observed, listened, studied. She wasn't weak, he thought. She was simply overlooked by those who didn't bother to look deeper. And Aaron always looked deeper. The moment of selection began. Human soldiers stepped forward, calling out the names of their chosen partners. Cheers erupted when popular royals were chosen. The hall filled with clapping, flashes of holographic lights, and the hum of excitement. Aaron waited patiently as his turn approached. "Sergeant Aaron Hale," the announcer called. The hall quieted, curious. Aaron stepped onto the platform. He felt the platform lights grow warm beneath his boots. His gaze swept across the royal candidates, and for a moment, several high-ranking heirs lifted their chins, expecting him to choose them. After all, Aaron had a record of success. A decorated soldier choosing you as a partner was politically valuable, but he already knew whom he would choose. He raised his voice, steady and clear. "I choose Princess Riella of the Virel Dominion." A gasp rolled through the hall like a shockwave. Whispers broke out instantly. "Why her? Was this planned? Is he serious? She's the least likely." Even the other Virel royals exchanged startled glances. Riella herself stood frozen, her luminous eyes widening just enough to show her surprise. She hesitated, her fingers tightening for a moment before she slowly stepped forward. The Dominion ambassador turned sharply toward Aaron, his crystal armor chiming with each movement. "Sergeant," the ambassador said with polite strain, "are you certain of your selection?" Aaron nodded without hesitation. "Yes." Riella stopped before him, keeping a respectful distance. The soft glow from her crystalline skin illuminated her slightly lowered face. Aaron could tell she was trying to understand him, trying to read his expression through her uncertainty. She spoke quietly, her voice like the hum of distant chimes. "Sergeant, you choose me? Even though my abilities are not suited for combat roles?" Aaron shook his head lightly. "That's not what I see." Riella blinked, surprised by his answer. You see things others miss, he continued. You analyze everything. You listen. That matters more to me than raw strength. Her glowing eyes rose to meet his. For the first time, he saw something else in them. Something hidden but powerful. A spark of pride, perhaps, or maybe relief. The ambassador stepped aside reluctantly. Then the selection is confirmed. The hall reacted again, louder now. Some soldiers shrugged, some laughed quietly, some watched with interest. It wasn't every day that a human soldier made such an unexpected choice. When the ceremony ended, the new pairs were escorted to their temporary quarters. As Aaron and Riella walked through the crystal-lined corridor of the embassy, the silence felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. She walked with slow, precise steps, as though she was used to being unnoticed. Aaron could sense her struggling with questions she didn't know how to ask. He finally broke the silence. If you're wondering why I chose you, he said gently, it's because you notice everything. You were watching the stage layout, the guards, even the exits. That's the awareness of someone who understands danger. Riella's voice remained soft. I only observe because I must. It is a habit. Habits come from experience, Aaron replied. Good instincts usually do too. She paused at that, turning her head slightly as if testing the truth of his words. Her expression didn't change much, but her shoulders relaxed by the smallest fraction. You think too highly of me, she said quietly. Aaron gave a small smile. I think just accurately enough. A faint pulse of light flickered through her crystalline skin like a blush, he suspected. They reached the training chamber assigned to their pair. It was a large room with adaptive walls, high ceilings, and holographic interfaces. Riella stopped at the entrance, unsure if she should go in first. Irene gestured politely. She stepped inside. She looked around with calm curiosity, studying the equipment and displays. Her hands hovered over a console, almost touching but stopping short. Aaron watched her for a moment before speaking again. You don't have to worry, he said. I'm not expecting you to fight like a soldier. Riella turned her head slightly. Then what do you expect? Honesty, Aaron said. And your mind. Together we can learn. Her glow softened. As they began their initial assessments, Aaron noticed the way she moved carefully, thoughtfully, without wasted effort. She scanned every device before interacting with it, as if she needed to understand its purpose first. When she analyzed a tactical map, she traced energy pathways and data streams that Aaron barely noticed. She highlighted patterns in enemy movement simulations that were invisible at first glance. Her voice stayed quiet, almost hesitant, but the insight she offered was sharp and precise. You're good at this, Aaron said. I am only reading the data, she replied. But you're reading it better than most experienced officers. She said nothing, but light shimmered faintly through her form. After a while, Aaron decided to ask a question he had been wondering about. Why were you standing alone during the ceremony? Riella's hands paused over the console. Her glow dimmed slightly. I was not expected to be chosen, she said simply. Why not? My family believes I am not suited for leadership or battle. My strengths are quiet, less valuable. Aaron considered her words. Strength isn't just about power. Sometimes it's about clarity. She tilted her head. Humans speak in interesting ways. He laughed softly. We try. A brief silence fell. But it wasn't awkward. Riella seemed to relax more as the time passed. She asked calm, thoughtful questions about human tactics, military operations, and combat psychology. Aaron answered them patiently, impressed by how quickly she absorbed information. When the training session ended, they walked back toward their quarters. The corridor lights reflected off Riella's crystalline form, sending faint colors across the floor. She looked almost ethereal but also strangely grounded. Aaron spoke before they parted. You weren't a mistake, Riella. I chose you because I believe we can make each other stronger. She met his eyes, her own glow steady. Thank you, Sergeant Aaron Hale. Your confidence is unfamiliar, but not unwelcome. He nodded. We'll make a good team. For the first time, Riella gave the smallest, genuine smile, soft, almost hidden, but unmistakable. As Aaron watched her walk toward her chamber, something stirred in his chest. He didn't know what challenges awaited them, but he felt certain of one thing: choosing her wasn't a risk. It was the beginning of something far bigger than either of them yet understood. The next morning began in silence. The kind of silence that always came before something important. Aaron Hale woke early as usual. Soldiers were trained to rise before the alarms. But today his instincts felt even sharper. Something was off. The air felt heavier, as if the station itself was holding its breath. He dressed quickly, checked his gear out of habit, and left his quarters. The corridors of the Concordant Embassy were quiet, with only a few early workers moving between shifts. Their faces carried a strange tension. Aaron sensed it instantly. People were worried, but they were trying to hide it. He made his way to the training hall where he and Raella had agreed to meet. When he entered, the lights were dim, but she was already there. She stood near a projection table, her glowing form reflecting faint patterns from a holographic map. Her focus was intense, sharper than yesterday. She didn't notice him at first. When she finally turned, the glow along her crystalline edges flickered in greeting. "Good morning, Sergeant Aaron Hale." "You can call me Aaron," he said with a small smile. She hesitated. "Very well, Areen." Her voice held a different tone today, still quiet, but edged with concern. Aaron felt it immediately. "You sensed something too," he said. Raella nodded slowly. "There is a disturbance. Not here, outside, in the energy fields surrounding the station." The harmonics shifted suddenly during the night. Aaron walked to the table beside her. "Any idea what caused it?" "Not yet," she said. "But something is moving closer. Something large." Before Aaron could reply, the chamber lights flashed red. A deep alarm echoed through the station. Raella stiffened, her glow sharpening like a crystal struck by light. The communication system activated across the hall. "All personnel, report to defensive posts immediately. This is not a drill. Unknown forces approaching. Repeat, unknown forces approaching." Aaron's jaw tightened. "The Vorkrid." Raella turned toward him. "You believe it is them?" "They're the only ones bold enough to attack a diplomatic station," Aaron said. "And the only ones reckless enough to do it right before the galactic convergence." Raella lowered her head slightly, listening with senses he couldn't see. "Yes. The vibrations match. Their energy patterns feel chaotic." "Then we need to move," Aaron said. They rushed into the corridor. Officers, diplomats, and soldiers were running in organized chaos, each heading to assigned stations. The embassy's shield fields crackled to life along the walls. Aaron grabbed a communicator from a passing technician. "This is Sergeant Aaron Hale. What's the situation?" A static-filled voice responded. "Multiple Vorkrid ships inbound. They came out of the nebula without warning. Estimated 3 minutes until they reach weapons range." 3 minutes. That was nothing. Raella followed closely beside him, her glow brighter now, reacting to the tension around them. She moved carefully, but Aaron could tell she was struggling internally. Her family had always kept her away from high-stress command situations. This was likely the first time she'd been on a battlefield. They reached the command deck, where the embassy's tactical displays filled the room. Officers were shouting orders, coordinating defenses, and preparing evacuation routes. The Concordant captain turned as Aaron and Raella entered. "Sergeant Hale, your presence is required. And Princess Raella, you may observe from the diplomatic section." Aaron shook his head. "She stays with me. She can help." The captain frowned. "Sergeant, I respect your instincts, but the princess is..." Raella stepped forward, surprising both men. "I can read Vorkrid energy patterns. I can sense their movement before the sensors detect it." The captain blinked. "You can what?" Aaron folded his arms. "She's more valuable than any early warning system you have." Raella stood very straight now, her glow steady. "I will not be a burden." The captain hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Very well." The tactical display shifted to show the Vorkrid ships approaching. Jagged, dark, insect-like forms moved through space with unnatural speed. Their energy signatures flickered with unstable pulses, dangerous, unpredictable. Riella stepped closer to the display, her eyes narrowing. They are coordinating. Their movements. Yes. This one here. She pointed to a smaller ship weaving between two larger ones. They are directing the swarm. If we disable this vessel, the others will lose symmetry in their attack formation. Aaron looked to the captain. We can use that. The captain immediately issued targeting orders. But before the embassy could prepare a counterattack, a blast shook the station. The impact forced everyone to grab onto nearby surfaces. Alarms blared louder. They're firing already? Aaron asked in disbelief. No, Riella whispered. That was not a weapon. That was a boarding strike. Aaron cursed under his breath. They're coming inside. He grabbed a weapon from the emergency rack and handed another to Riella. She hesitated, her crystalline fingers curling around the handle with uncertainty. I am not trained for combat, she said softly. You don't need to fight like a soldier, Aaron told her. Just stay with me. Explosions echoed down the corridor. The lights flickered as the Vorkrid forced entry through the outer hull. The air hummed with the sound of their energy, claws cutting through metal. Aaron led Riella into the next hallway as the first enemy shapes appeared, tall, armored creatures with segmented limbs and pulsing cores of molten red light. The Vorkrid were terrifying in appearance, but Aaron had fought them before. He steadied his breathing, set his sights, and fired. Bolts of plasma struck the nearest creature, dropping it instantly. Riella flinched at the noise but stayed beside him. More Vorkrid advanced, their screech-like calls echoing through the corridor. Riella lifted her hand. Aaron, wait. He paused for half a heartbeat. What is it? She closed her eyes, her glow intensifying. Their energy. It resonates like broken frequencies. I can hear the gaps. If you shoot there. She pointed to a specific angle between two advancing warriors. Aaron didn't question her. He fired exactly where she indicated. The plasma shot passed through the narrow opening between the Vorkrid and struck a hidden node on the wall behind them, a node powering the boarding tunnel they used. The node exploded in a burst of blue light. The entire boarding corridor collapsed behind the Vorkrid, trapping them in a single direction and cutting off reinforcements. Aaron stared for a moment, impressed. You just saved us a lot of trouble. Riella blinked, surprised by her own success. I only followed the energy patterns. Another explosion shook the station. The captain's voice called through the communicator. All troops fall back to Sector 4. The Vorkrid have breached the lower levels. Aaron and Riella ran through the corridor. Smoke began to fill the air, and the lights flickered more violently. Riella stumbled once, unaccustomed to the chaos. But Aaron caught her arm before she fell. You okay? She nodded quickly. Yes. Keep going. They reached Sector 4, where several human soldiers had formed a defensive line. The corridor was half destroyed, with sparks raining from the ceiling. The lieutenant spotted Aaron. Hail! We need someone to cover the left flank. The Vorkrid are trying to overload the main power junction. Aaron nodded. We've got it. Riella followed him, her glow flickering faster now from stress. They reached the junction room. Sure enough, a group of Vorkrid drones were attaching devices to the power core. They're trying to overload it, Aaron muttered. If they succeed, half the station will blow. Riella placed a hand on the wall and closed her eyes again. Aaron, I can disrupt their devices, but I need a safe angle. Their resonance is unstable. Tell me where, she pointed. There. If you shoot that spot, the core's vibration will shake off the devices. Aaron aimed and fired. Sparks burst from the core, sending a shockwave that knocked the Vorkrid drones backward. Their devices fell to the ground. Disabled, Riella's glow dimmed with relief. It worked. You did that, Aaron said with genuine admiration. But the Vorkrid will not stop, she whispered. As if on cue, the communicator crackled again. All units. Be advised, the Vorkrid are regrouping. Their command ship is preparing a second wave. Riella's eyes widened. Aaron, I sense it. Something stronger is coming. Something different. Aaron steadied his weapon. Then we face it together. The corridor shook again. The battle was far from over. But for the first time, Riella didn't feel like the quiet, overlooked princess, standing alone in a shadowed hall. She felt like a partner, and Erin knew she was becoming something far more dangerous to their enemies than anyone had expected. The station felt like it was trembling under its own fear. Smoke drifted through the corridors, alarms echoed over and over, and metal groaned somewhere deep within the structure. Aaron Hale moved through the chaos with quick, sharp steps, keeping Princess Riella close behind him. She stayed near, alert but shaken by the intensity of the battle. Her glow flickered like a candle under wind, but she did not complain or slow down. They reached a damaged section where emergency doors had sealed off half the hallway. Aaron placed a hand on the heated metal. The Vorkrid hit this area hard. We'll need to reroute around the engineering sector. Riella glanced at the walls, listening to something only she could hear. Their energy is spreading through the station like cracks forming in glass. They are trying to weaken the whole structure. Then we stop them before it spreads too far. As they moved deeper inside, the lights flickered again. A group of panicked diplomats rushed past them, guided by two concordant guards. One of the diplomats spotted Riella and paused. "Princess, why are you here? Your family will protest this reckless." Aaron stepped between them. "She's with me. She's helping." The diplomat hesitated, clearly unsure what to think, then hurried away before the next tremor shook the wall. Riella watched them go, her expression unreadable. "They still do not believe I can contribute." Aaron gave her a reassuring look. "They'll understand soon." She said nothing, but the faint hum in her glow steadied, as if his words anchored her. They continued toward the engineering wing, where the Vorkrid were believed to be gathering. The deeper they went, the darker the corridors became. Several lights had burnt out, leaving only emergency strips glowing along the floor. Shadows felt longer, colder. Riella slowed down. "Aaron, something is wrong." He tightened his grip on his weapon. "What do you sense?" She placed her hand lightly on the wall. "There is a vibration. Not like the others. Stronger. Controlled." Aaron frowned. "Controlled how?" "It feels as if something is guiding the swarm. Something intelligent and very close." Aaron's instincts sharpened. "Their commander? Possibly," she whispered. "Or worse." They turned a corner and froze. On the far end of the corridor, a distorted figure stood among a cluster of Vorkrid warriors. This one was different from the others, taller, more armored, with luminous veins of energy crawling beneath its shell. Its eyes glowed like red stars. Riella inhaled sharply. "That is not just a commander." Aaron raised his weapon. "Then what is it?" "A resonant nexus," she said softly. "A Vorkrid capable of linking the swarm into a single mind. They are rare and extremely dangerous." The nexus lifted its head, sensing them instantly. The air around it pulsed like a silent heartbeat. The Vorkrid warriors turned as one, ready to attack. Aaron whispered sideways to Riella, "Stay behind me." But Riella shook her head. "No. I can help. Their resonance is strong, but not perfect. If I can focus, I can disrupt it." Aaron kept his aim steady. "What do you need?" "Time. Just a few seconds. Then I'll buy you those seconds." The Vorkrid charged. Aaron fired with sharp precision, hitting the first two warriors before they reached him. Another lunged forward, claws slicing through the air. Aaron dodged sideways, fired again, and the creature collapsed. Behind him, Riella closed her eyes. Her glow brightened, shifting from soft blue to a more intense white. The air around her trembled softly, reacting to her power. The Nexus's red glow flared. It sensed her attempt and sent a surge of energy down the corridor. The shockwave ripped through the floor. Aaron was thrown backward, hitting the wall hard. "Aaron," Riella called out, stepping toward him. "I'm fine," he said, forcing himself up. "Keep going." The Nexus screeched violently and ordered the remaining warriors forward. Aaron continued firing, pushing through the pain in his chest. Ryella's glow spread outward in gentle waves. She raised her hands slowly, as if guiding invisible threads. The corridor's air vibrated with a low hum. Aaron felt it run along the walls and through his boots. The Vorkrid stopped for a moment, confused by the shift in resonance. The Nexus reacted angrily. It launched another shockwave, stronger than the first. Ryella staggered but didn't fall. Her glow shielded her from the worst of it. Aaron fired again, hitting the Nexus's shoulder. It barely flinched. "Ryella," he said. "Whatever you're doing, finish it soon." "Finish it soon." She didn't respond. Too focused. Her glow intensified until her crystalline form looked like it was burning with pure light. Then she exhaled sharply. A wave of energy burst from her, moving like a silent breath through the corridor. When it touched the Vorkrid warriors, they convulsed and collapsed instantly, their connection cut. The Nexus shrieked in pain. Its glow flickered wildly. Aaron took the chance. He sprinted forward and fired directly at its exposed core. The shot pierced the unstable energy inside, and the creature exploded in a violent burst of red light. Shockwaves pushed Aaron back again, and he braced himself against the wall. When the noise faded, silence filled the corridor. Aaron coughed, trying to catch his breath. Ryella leaned against the wall, her glow dimmer now, exhausted. "You did it," Aaron said, stepping toward her. "You took down their control unit." Ryella nodded weakly. "I disrupted their harmony. Without it, they cannot act as one." "You saved us," Aaron said honestly. She looked away, embarrassed by the praise. "I only used what I sensed." "Exactly," Aaron said. "That's what makes you valuable." Her glow flickered gently, like she was touched by his encouragement. Suddenly, the communicator crackled. "All units be advised. The Vorkrid swarm is withdrawing." "Repeat." "They are withdrawing." Something interfered with their command structure. Aaron smirked. "That was you." But the relief didn't last. The captain's voice changed tone. "Sergeant Hale, report to the secure chamber immediately. We found something. Something you need to see." Aaron exchanged a glance with Ryella. "Let's go." When they reached the secure chamber, several officers stood around a holographic table showing intercepted data. The captain pointed at the display. "During the attack, we picked up Dominion signals, encrypted ones. Someone was sending coded messages to the Vorkrid." Aaron's jaw tightened. "A spy?" "More than a spy," the captain said. "Someone high-ranking." Ryella stepped forward, her glow faint. "Who would do such a thing?" One of the officers tapped the console. A list of intercepted frequencies appeared. Aaron's eyes widened when he recognized them. "Those are Virel royal codes," he said. Ryella froze completely, her glow turning pale. The captain nodded. "Someone in your family may have contacted the Vorkrid. It is possible they wanted you taken or removed. You were isolated during the attack. They knew you were vulnerable." Ryella felt a chill run through her entire body. "My own family?" Aaron's expression hardened. "Whoever it is, they don't want you stepping into any future role. They want you out of the way." She lowered her gaze. "They always saw me as unimportant. But to harm me..." Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from disbelief. Aaron put a hand gently on her shoulder. "Ryella, look at me." She lifted her eyes slowly. "We'll figure out who did this," Aaron said. "You're not alone in this. I'm with you." Something warm flickered in her glow, small but steady. "I believe you," she whispered. The captain cleared his throat. "The Vorkrid will regroup, and if a royal is working with them, this is bigger than a simple attack." Aaron nodded firmly. "Then we prepare for what's coming next." Ryella straightened, finding strength in Aaron's support. "I will not hide. If someone wishes to remove me, then I must understand why." Her glow brightened again, soft but determined. Aaron saw it clearly now. The quiet princess he chose in a hall full of royals was changing. She was growing stronger. Not in physical power, but in will. Something important had been awakened inside her, and the galaxy was not ready for what she would become. The station floated in uneasy silence after the Vorkrid retreat. Technicians rushed through the halls repairing damage, guards doubled their patrols, and commanders spoke in low, serious voices. Even the air felt tense, as if the whole structure knew something far worse was coming. Aaron Hale stood in the briefing room watching a holographic display shift between maps of star systems and coded messages. Riella sat quietly beside him. Her glow was steadier now, but there was sadness beneath its surface. The intercepted signals from earlier kept returning to her thoughts. Viral royal codes sent to the Vorkrid during the attack. Her own family might have betrayed her. The captain entered the room, face tired but focused. "We just received new data. The Vorkrid didn't retreat. They regrouped inside the shattered nebula." Aaron straightened. "That's near the Dominion border." "Exactly." The captain clicked a console, and an image of a massive energy structure appeared above the table. "They're building something. A singularity generator. If they activate it, entire star systems could collapse." Riella's glow dimmed with fear. "That device is forbidden. No species should have the means to create a singularity." Aaron folded his arms. "If the Vorkrid finish it, we lose more than just the station." The captain nodded grimly. "We need a strike team, small, fast, and capable of navigating the nebula's unstable fields." Aaron turned to Riella. "She can help us navigate." The captain hesitated. "Princess Riella, are you certain you can handle this? The nebula is unpredictable. The Vorkrid influence inside it is..." Riella interrupted gently. "Their resonance reaches through the nebula like a storm. I can sense the patterns. I can find the calm currents between the chaos." Aaron felt a spark of admiration. She spoke not with doubt anymore, but with quiet confidence. The captain exhaled. "Very well. Prepare for departure." The shuttle launched an hour later, slipping away from the damaged embassy and heading toward the swirling colors of the shattered nebula. Inside, the cabin glowed dimly with emergency lights. Aaron sat at the navigation station while Riella stood beside the forward window, her hands lightly resting on the edge of the glass. The closer they flew to the nebula, the more violently its colors twisted, blue, red, gold, and black merging like living storms. It was beautiful in a frightening way. Riella's glow resonated softly. "Do you hear it?" Aaron listened but heard nothing. She continued. "The nebula sings. Not like a voice, more like a ripple. There are hidden paths inside it. If you follow the wrong one, you will be lost." Aaron trusted her completely now. "Tell me where to go." She raised her hand, pointing to a narrow, dark divide between two spiraling clouds. "There. That path is stable." Aaron steered the shuttle accordingly. The ship shuddered as the nebula's energy brushed against its hull, but then it smoothed into the calmer current Riella sensed. They navigated through twisting tunnels of glowing dust. Several times Aaron had to dodge sudden bursts of swirling energy, and each time Riella warned him seconds before they appeared. He realized something. She didn't just sense external resonance. She could feel danger before it became real. "We're getting close," she whispered. "The Vorkrid are ahead." The nebula suddenly opened into a vast clearing of dark space, and there it was. A massive Vorkrid command ship hung in the center, surrounded by dozens of smaller vessels. At its core, a swirling sphere of collapsing energy glowed brightly, the beginning of a singularity. Aaron gripped the controls. "That thing is unstable. If it keeps growing, it will swallow the entire region," Riella finished softly. They approached under the cover of nebula distortion. Aaron activated stealth fields and guided the shuttle toward a docking point on the underside of the command ship. Once attached, they entered through an access hatch. The interior was dark and pulsing with red light. The walls seemed alive, shifting faintly like breathing skin. Riella stayed close to Aaron, her glow casting small reflections on the metallic floor. She whispered, "The resonance here feels wrong. Twisted." "Stay alert," Aaron replied. "We're shutting that thing down." They navigated deeper until they reached the singularity chamber. The swirling sphere hovered inside a containment cage of dark metal, humming loudly. Energy tendrils lashed out at the room like angry roots searching for a way to escape. Aaron examined the control console. If I overload the conduits, the device will collapse in on itself. Riella closed her eyes, sensing something more. A figure stepped from behind the containment cage. Aaron raised his weapon immediately. Riella froze. Standing before them was a Virel royal, tall, radiant, and unmistakable. Her older brother, Prince Valor. His crystal armor shone with cold light. "Little sister," he said smoothly. "You were supposed to stay out of the way." Riella's glow dimmed with deep hurt. You contacted the Vorkrid?" Valor tilted his head. "Our empire needed a clear successor. You were a distraction, a fragile ornament with no value to the military." Aaron stepped protectively in front of Riella. "So you tried to have her killed during the attack." Valor smiled faintly. "It was efficient." Riella's hands shook, not from fear but heartbreak. "I never wished to challenge you. I only wished to serve the Dominion in my own way. And that was the problem." Valor replied coldly. "You were becoming noticed. And now, you bring a human soldier with you. A soldier influencing you to rise beyond your place." Aaron narrowed his eyes. "This ends now." Valor stepped back and placed his hand on a panel. "Yes, it does." The singularity pulse brightened, dangerous and wild. The containment cage cracked with energy. Riella gasped. "He is accelerating it." "If the Vorkrid cannot win," Valor said calmly, "then neither will you." Quote. The chamber shook violently. Aaron grabbed Riella's wrist. "We need to stop him." Riella stepped forward, her glow bursting brighter than ever before. "Valor, stop this. You will destroy everything," he sneered. "Then let it be destroyed." Aaron fired. Valor dodged, but the shot grazed his armor, sending him stumbling backward. Riella moved to the console, her hands pressed against it. "Aaron, I can stabilize the resonance, but I need you to reach the override. Tell me where." She pointed to a high platform above the chamber. "There. That switch will collapse the device safely." Aaron nodded and sprinted toward the stairs. Valor lunged at him, but Riella stepped between them. For the first time, she raised her hand not in fear, but in quiet determination. A burst of harmonic light erupted from her palm. Valor froze mid-motion, stunned as the resonance locked his movements for a moment. Aaron reached the platform. The singularity roared like a living beast. Energy whipped around him, tearing small pieces of metal from the walls. He fought through the pressure, every step feeling heavier. "Aaron," Riella called. "Now." He slammed his hand onto the override. The chamber filled with blinding white light. The singularity shrank rapidly, collapsing inward until it vanished with a sharp implosion, leaving silence behind. Aaron fell to one knee, exhausted but alive. Riella hurried to him, her glow trembling with emotion. She helped him stand. "You did it." "We did it," he corrected. Valor struggled weakly on the floor, defeated. Riella looked at him with sorrow rather than anger. "You could have led with wisdom," she said softly. "But you chose destruction." Valor looked away, unable to meet her gaze. Aaron contacted the captain. "Mission complete. Singularity neutralized. We have a betrayer in custody." The captain's voice crackled with relief. "Understood. Returning reinforcements now." Riella stepped closer to Aaron, her glow softening. "Thank you. For trusting me. For choosing me when no one else did." Aaron smiled tiredly. "I saw strength in you long before today. You just needed the chance to show it." She looked down, a shy shimmer running through her crystal form. "I will not forget what we have done together." Aaron gently lifted her chin. "You're not the least likely princess anymore. You're the one who saved us all." Riella glowed brighter, warmer, stronger, no longer overlooked, no longer silent. Together, they stepped toward the shuttle as the Vorkrid ship began to collapse behind them. The battle was over, but their story had only begun.